Hello, and today we'll be playing the newest update for NeveN. This will begin chapter 9 for Vekad. I am swimming peacefully in the middle of the lake, accompanied by the sound of birds flying above me. But I don't even know how to swim. Suddenly something pulls me by the leg, dragging me to the bottom of the lake again. Before my eyes, the corpses of those I have killed are rising to the surface. Instinctively, I scream, but water fills my lungs. No, it's not water, it's blood. Hey, wake up! Daylight hits me full force, and the blurry outline of the African towering over me gradually takes shape. It's alright, it was just a nightmare. You scared me screaming like that. Sorry. The stag sits down next to me, looking worried, then takes my hand in his and rubs it. Rough time, huh? Yeah. That's when I realize I'm still shaking, so I do my best to calm down, but by breathing in and out. My body feels so tense, it's like I've been punched in the stomach. Eventually I find the strength to sit up if Vekad makes a little room for me. Even though the situation has calmed down, he still looks worried. Are you okay? Yeah, no more fits. Mine's clear. And it's been a long time since that happened. I still have these kinds of weird visions, lies that aren't mine, but yeah, nothing bad compared to before. That's a good sign, I guess. The hunter just shrugs before finally smiling at me. Honestly, I don't know what it means or if it will last, but what I do know is that I'm going to enjoy shit out of it while everything's going well. So are you going to enjoy it by going on a hunt? I managed to get a little laugh out of the deer who throws a blade of grass at me. I could do other things besides hunting. Hey, I don't know. Maybe now you want to become a priest. This time it's my turn to laugh when I see Vekad's jaded expression. I must say, it feels good. I don't know how long it's been since we've been able to talk about light-hearted topics. But despite my desire to continue down this path, I still have a doubt in the back of my mind. Is this really the person I loved who is standing in front of me? Tell me, do you remember everything we did together? What do you mean? As I answer him, I pull up one of my sleeves to reveal the wrought iron bracelet I wear on my wrist. Well, for example, our trip to the city during the celebrations, do you remember that? Oh yeah, I won that for you by throwing that javelin. Now that I think about it, I wonder if it wasn't one of the spirits of Kelathan who was good at javelin throwing. I don't think I could have made such a good throw myself. Somehow I feel reassured, but also curious. Say, how about trying another throw to see if it's still in you? The stag frowns before glancing at the pot cooking on the fire. I'm a little hungry first, but after that, yeah, why not? Now that you mention it, I wouldn't say no to a little something to eat. Then he presents me with a bowl full of a mixture of berries and herbs that smells divine. Are you sure you don't have some kind of culinary spirit in there as well? I don't remember you ever preparing anything so deliciously aromatic before. As I stick my tongue out at Vekad, he laughs and gives me a little slap on the shoulder. I didn't have the time or the head to make anything fancy until now, but I think we deserve it after everything that happened. As he begins to sip his drink, I move closer to him and rest my head on his shoulder before doing the same. And in return, he rests his head against mine in the sides. Thank you for staying with me all this time. I know it wasn't easy, and you left a lot behind. I'm starting to think it's unfair to ask you to leave this life for good. Hey, you said it yourself, it would be dangerous to go back. I don't know how we would be received. Of course, I miss the people I got to know there, but that's life. Sometimes it's better to leave the past behind. For a moment, Vigo comes to mind, but I do my best to push out my thoughts. Guess you're right. After emptying his bowl, the hunter hugs me and sighs, looking me in the eyes. You and me against the world then, huh? I could lose myself in his gaze, but he doesn't give me time to do so as he kisses me passionately. Closing my eyes and tilting my head, I respond to his kiss with as much enthusiasm as he does, and I wrap my arm around his neck to better enjoy the moment. I feel his weight pressing down on me more and more until I find myself lying in the grass with him, and our kiss ends as we look at each other with big grins. I love you. I love you too, Mr. Not So Grumpy Horns. With that, he gives me a flick on the nose and chuckles. Don't count on me not being grumpy anymore, and I hope you'll stay a little pain in the ass as well. Ouch. He gets up and helps me do the same after I rub my nose. Outside of the pain in the ass comment, the rest was as enjoyable as the smell suggested. What, the kiss? The drink, silly. This time I give him a nudge in the shoulder. Careful, you're going to hurt yourself. You're right. How about showing me your javelin skills instead of picking on someone weaker than you, huh? Hey, you're the one who tried to hit me just now. As he winks at me, I make a face at him and he laughs again. I don't think I've ever seen him so happy, and I must admit that his joy is contagious. Well, I'm not sure I can find anything to make a javelin out of, but the one I used at the party wasn't that great either. He even told me it was rigged. Yeah, so a simple tree branch should do the trick. The hunter climbs from tree to tree before grabbing a straight branch, which he breaks without effort. Yeah, that should do. But it doesn't look much like a javelin. Not yet. After settling down, the stag grabs his knife and starts removing the twigs, then he sharpens the tip of the branch. It's not a work of art, but it'll do. The hunter stands up and looks around with a sigh. Do you see a target to aim at? Between those two trees over there in the distance. After pointing to the spot, the hunter smirks and shakes his head. Too easy. Even I could do that. I mean, me myself, not some spirit inside me. If you want, I'll go stand over there and you can try shooting between my ears. Seeing the panic on Vekad's face, I can't help but laugh. I was joking. You better be. I then point at the tree with a split trunk. Do you think you could shoot between those branches over there? I don't know, but if those spirits are still in there. After resisting himself, the stag gets into aiming position, and I step back to get a better look at him. He's still as handsome as ever, but something catches my eye as he prepares to launch the javelin. Under the fabric, his arms thickens visibly as if his muscles had suddenly swollen. And finally he shoots, and the projectile passes perfectly between the branches. Wait, roll up your sleeve. Vekad looks at me quizzically, so I step closer to pull his sleeve up. That's when we both realize that his arm is abnormally muscular, but it returns to normal in just a few seconds. What the fuck was that? It looks like you partially transformed to be more precise. It started when you still had the javelin in your hand. Well, I had no weird thoughts, and the shot is successful. At least it confirms that you still have Calathon's brand and his powers. As long as it's not dangerous for you, it could be a good thing. You protected me by using them after all. I wonder what else you're capable of now. We have to test it all out. Sometimes the less you know, the better off you are. There's no curiosity whatsoever in this thick skull of yours. Despite my joke, the stag remains pensive on the way back to our camp, and I follow him closely. I still don't understand why Tess sent us here. I still don't understand why Tess sent us there. Usher, you mean? We have a name to put on that face now. But I admit, I have trouble understanding it too. In fact, I don't know if I want to understand. I wonder where the priest went to. He's fulfilled his mission. I guess it's the same. He was interesting, but hey, it's not like you two got along, so I guess you won't miss him. That's for sure. And anyway, if he really is Oscar's son, I'm not sure he really on our side. Silence falls, and the stag begins to carve a piece of wood while humming to himself, and I just watch him with a smile. It's strangely soothing to see him doing something so simple. It's only a few hours later that we set off again. We moved very slowly through the Frosian countryside, mainly because we had to avoid both bandit troops and kingdom patrols. But I no longer feel the fear I had at the beginning of our journey. I know I'm safe with Vekad and he's safe with me. During our frequent stops, he teaches me a thing or two, particularly about hunting, making traps, and short survival in general. And in return, I sing for him from time to time to calm him down. Over time, a plan begins to form in my mind. I have clear desires for him, and something tells me it's time to let him know, since I know he has such feelings for me too. So I wait until we stop once again, and I walk around our camp with him. The surroundings seem quiet. No bandits, no guards, and there are animals around if I need to hunt. I think we can stop here for a few days to get some rest. We haven't made as much progress as I would have liked, but I prefer to take it slow and steady anyway. Sounds good to me. More time alone with you would be great. With that, I give him my most charming smile, and he winks back at me. I'm not complaining either. After setting up camp, I wait for him to walk away for a moment to stop to stuff several ropes into a bag. Then when he comes back, I act as if nothing happened. It's nice weather today, huh? Pretty much, yeah. I haven't seen a single pound of snow around here. I was thinking I could take this opportunity to find some plants and mushrooms. I'll come with you then. Oh no, you stay here and rest. Eric, you know it's not reasonable to go off on your own. Did you really teach me all those survival techniques just to accompany me? I need to manage on my own once in a while. Besides, you told me the area was quiet. The guy gives me a reproachful look before sighing. Don't go too far, alright? Don't worry about me. And if anyone approaches you, scream, Vekad! I know what I have to do. I'd rather be sure. I get up and kiss him on the snout, which makes him smile immediately. I'll be back soon. With that, I grab the bag I prepared earlier and trot off towards the forest. Right, let's get this set up. It's taken me longer than expected, especially given the size of the trap. I must have spent a good hour on it. Actually, Eric, when I hear Vekad calling me, I suddenly look up and rush towards him. No way am I letting him discover the surprise. I'm here. I was starting to worry. The hunter looks me up and down before checking out my bag, which is now completely empty. You spent all that time outside and didn't find anything? Yeah, either this area isn't great for foraging or I'm gonna have to take some more lessons from you. I glanced mockingly at the stag, who grunts and shakes his head. That's not funny. I was really scared. Sorry. He just sighs before heading back to the camp, and I follow close behind. Once he's settled in, I go behind him and massage his shoulders. Can I make it up to you? The only response I get from Vekad is a short grunt. Maybe it's time for the big show. Yeah, that's a little scene they do together. So we're gonna skip this part. I think it's kind of obvious what's gonna happen here, so we're gonna skip it. I can't help but let out a long sigh of pure bliss as I rest my head against his chest as it begins to stroke my ears. It's a life I could get used to. I turn my gaze to the stag, who is busy watching the sky above us, and then I do the same. Are you enjoying the view? You really only shut up when you got a dick or a tongue in your mouth, huh? He chuckles, giving me a playful look, so I elbow him in the ribs. Hey, what did I do to deserve that? That's no way to talk to your partner. Get used to it, little guy. What if I don't, Do I have to discipline you into being polite? Good luck with that. I can't help smiling as we tease each other in such a way, before straightening up to enjoy the warmth of the fire, and the stag follows close behind. I've got to admit, it feels good to be able to feel like myself, away from any shackles of my status at court. And yet, despite this sense of well-being, I still have a lot of questions running through my head. Remember that talk we had about the gods and what an Anthrocan was? More or less, yeah, why? I had a long talk with Astra. Even he's not sure gods exist. I'm not surprised. If he's an avatar like us, it means he's still immortal. Well, actually no. He's been alive for a very long time. Apparently, even before Frostfang was built, for what I can gather. That must have been a bloody long time ago then, because I have never heard anyone talk about the castle being built. Maybe he lied. That would be just like him, but I don't see why he would do that. As for the gods, I'm not sure. After all, we've been branded, so there must be some truth to it. Maybe it just happens for no reason. I don't know, but Vanessa, she was practically worshipped as a goddess. Maybe that's just what gods are. Avatar is powerful enough to have a cult. I've seen cults of all kinds of strange stuff when I was traveling through the kingdom. I'm not even sure the Africans need an avatar to believe in a higher power. You see more of the world than I thought you did. That's what being a royal hunter is all about. When there's no hunting to be done, the kings send you around to settle peasant disputes or to investigate strange things. Once I came across some kind of gathering of peasants standing around a body, and they were devouring bits of it. Yeah, that must have been weird indeed. Well, especially since I'm pretty sure it wasn't an animal they were eating. For a moment, the corpses devoured by Kyrex and his disciples appeared to me as if I were back in that cursed forest. Alright, let's not talk about that right now, eh? Yeah, sorry about that. The stag takes my hand in his and squeezes it with a touch of tenderness despite the roughness of his fingers. You can always tell me what happened, but not those kind of details. Not right now. There's not much more to tell. I told them I'd keep it a secret if they stopped it right away, and I left. You didn't tell the kings? They know it's happening everywhere. We have to turn a blind eye. Otherwise, we have to burn down half of the villages in the country. By other gods, why there so many of these people. I say that when things go wrong, people turn to what makes the most sense to them. The lucky ones have a family, a job, something to keep them busy. But the others, those who have nothing, they often try to latch onto the easiest branch to catch. If they're promised, if they're promised that God will put an end to their suffering, they start believing without really looking for the why or the how. Thank goodness I never did that when I was on the streets. Even though frauds were commonplace out there, but I guess singing kept me away from all that. It was my hope of breaking through, of having a normal life. I lose my gaze in the clouds, sighing as I realized this dream life was from a past now gone. And I get the impression that Vekad notices. Well, make sure to find you an audience which will settle in our little corner of the world. You often talk about what I want to find in this new life, but what about you? Well, I don't need much. Having a house will give me a chance to work with wood to make furniture and stuff like that. You could become the village carpenter on top of being a hunter. Yeah, but they probably already have one. And I won't give up hunting. That's for sure, especially if it involves a rabbit. Vekad sneers as he pulls me right up against him, and I take a great pleasure in indulging. In the end, this brand doesn't only have downsides. Yeah, I have to get used to it anyway. I can't do without it, so I might as well look on the bright side. The stag sighs heavily, rubbing his eyes, but I prefer to think about the future. What's done is done. I can't change that. It's not like it can get any worse than what we've already been through anyway. Vekad and I look at each other with a sad smile as he firms his hold around me. We'll build a better future, you and me, I promise. I simply nod before losing my gaze in the sky again. And so we spend a moment in serene silence, enjoying the simple things in life before getting back on the road. No sign of brigands, no patrols from false fangs either. It's much quieter than the first part of our journey. And when night falls, we settle down again, this time in a small cave. Vekad checks each corner to make sure there are no wild animals, then we set up our sleeping bags for the night. Good night, Vekad. Good night, little boy. Exhausted by our day's walk, I soon sank into a deep sleep. When I awake, I find myself in my bed back in Frostfang. It's still dark outside, and the obscurity is so thick that I'm starting to wonder where the moon is. Taken by a sudden impulse, I find myself drawn out of my room. The corridors are empty, which is quite unusual even at this late hour. There's always a guard or two on patrol. Then screams erupt all around me. No matter how hard I run, I can never find the source of these screeches. But as I go deeper into this labyrinth of corridors, I realize that the walls are progressively getting covered in blood. I feel my heart leaping harder and harder in my chest as if it's going to burst through at any moment. Then, driven by panic and almost instinctively, I run towards Vekad's tower. Once there, I discover that the door to his room is also covered in blood, but that doesn't stop me. I got to save him, so I open the door and suddenly am out of the castle. The cold air whips across my muzzle, and I find myself standing in front of a mountain I now know well. Except this time, the capital is actually here. Everything suddenly looks so peaceful from down here. And yet something is wrong, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Then it hits me. I should be able to see the stars in the sky given the lack of clouds, but all I can see is an endless expanse of dark wilderness. And that darkness starts to move. Two gigantic wings split the heavens as they stretch, exposing the body of a bird perched on the fang. I stand frozen, stricken by this vision of horror, as a winged monster opens its beak to let out a shrieking noise that reverberates throughout the valley. It sounds nothing like the ordinary cry of a bird of prey. It's as if the howls of thousands of Africans were roaring through the air, a joint wail of anguish and despair. The shockwave that follows this sound causes the castle to collapse as if it were made of straw, and then the city and the walls surrounding it are shattered as well. In a matter of seconds, the capital is swept away, and so am I. I feel like I've hardly slept at all, and yet it's already the middle of the night. Vekad looks at me worried as I try to regain control of my trembling body. Hey, what's going on? It was a bad dream, I think. No, it's much more than that, and deep down I know it very well. We got to get back to Frostfang. Something's wrong. What the hell? Hey, listen to me, Eric. They're looking for us. Deserted. We've been through this already. I thought we agreed on. I know, but what I saw. I'm trying to make sense of what I saw. Was it even real? No, it's absurd. This nightmare was far too specific, and you know as well as I do that these days what we see in our sleep tends to become a little too real. If we start reading all of our nightmares as things that could happen, it's going to drive us nuts. I know what I saw, Vekad. I know I don't dream about this kind of thing every day. The hunter sighs heavily while rubbing his eyes, then finally answers me. What did you see? Pain, a lot of pain, and a giant bird destroying Frostfang. In all my life, I've never seen a bird big enough to destroy a village, let alone the capital. You know very well it can be interpreted differently. I don't know, Tess has been pretty fucking straightforward so far, hasn't he? I don't even know if it's him, and if it is, I don't know why he would show me that. Well, if he wants you to go back there, he might as well fuck off, right? Even if it was bloody, it was by following his advice that I saved you. I don't know if I can afford to ignore him. And then get out of my sleeping bag to stretch for a moment before getting up, hoping that the cool night air will help me put my thoughts in order at least a bit. Damn it, I don't have a moment's peace. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? We managed to get out of all that mess at the castle. You can't go back. And then there's our new life to look forward to. What happens there is no longer our problem. Even if I have my disagreements with the kings, the others are still my friends. Besides, I left the capital to help you originally. That's what mattered most to me. This time it's the stag's turn to stand up and dust off his sleeves. So what? We give up our freedom just because maybe they are in danger? It's not our fight, Eric. I could tell from Vekad's tone that he's starting to get annoyed, but he's not the only one. Well, if this vision shows something real, huh? Well, what if this vision shows something real, huh? Do you really think it's worth being free if the whole world is crumbling around us? I don't give a rat's ass about the rest of the world. Do you believe the kings, the warlords, the tyrants are thinking about us? Even the gods don't give a fuck. You got to understand that. We can die now and they wouldn't care, not even a little. We're nothing to them. And I don't give a fuck about them. But we can't just pretend nothing's happening around us, especially not knowing that some of the avatars are after us right now. And knowing what's happening to others is the best way to find ourselves alone once troubles come knocking on our door. The others spared their time ignoring what was happening to me. To the kings, I was just the royal hunter, and the Maybjorn, the older he got, the more obsessed he became with the throne. It took your arrival for someone to finally care about me. And that's exactly why I have to go back. There are people counting on us, even if they don't know it. If something really is going to happen to them, I have to be there, like I've been there for you. The hunter lets out a long growl, as he rolls his eyes, then pretends to chase me away with his hand. You know what? Go back there. Go see if there's really something or if it's just a nightmare that doesn't mean anything. I'll keep going east. You can join me when you've seen that it's all bullshit. Are you really going to let me go back alone? You managed without me all this time, haven't you? For a moment, I want to send the fact that I helped him with his brand in his face. In a way, that wouldn't be fair. Alright, I'll manage on my own. In that case, without really knowing what gotten into me, I found my things in my bag as quickly as possible. Obviously nothing is packed properly, my sleeping bag is sticking out and everything looks ready to explode, but I don't feel like talking any further. Something's not right and I can feel it in my gut. Eric, be reasonable. It's dark out there. At least wait until tomorrow to leave. And you should get some sleep. You still got a long way to go. All I get is a grunt in reply as I scurry straight west. Fortunately, the moon's full, and I don't have too much trouble getting my bearings. But I have to admit, I'm not thrilled about the prospect of making the whole way back alone. And I also hope that nothing happens to Vekad while I'm away. Fuck, come on. Why am I worrying about that stubborn idiot? Surely he'll be better off out there than I am. I don't know exactly how much time I spend tormenting my own mind, but the cold keeps me awake the whole time. And without me even realizing it, the moon is replaced by a sunrise. I wish I could enjoy it, but a whole bunch of other things are messing around in my head, and I don't know if I have the mental capacity to worry about that after spending almost an entire night walking. However, the crackling of a branch immediately pulls me out of the strange torpor I was in. My first instinct was to draw my rapier from its scabbard as the Africans emerged from the bushes also carrying weapons. One of them, a horse holding some kind of large club, steps forward first. Your money or your life. That can't be real. Listen, I had a rough night, and I'm really not in the mood. The fuck do I care? You think you're scaring us with your toothpick? I've killed Africans that look far deadlier than you. Don't try to intimidate me. It'll end badly for you. I don't even have anything of value on me anyway. I take your sword. It's pretty nicely made. I know how these people work. He's talking, and meanwhile, his buddies are surrounding me. A primitive method that has proved its effectiveness. Take one more step, and I assure you that at least one of you won't leave here alive. Before all I've been through, that would have been a bluff, but now I know deep down that what I'm saying here is the absolute truth, and I won't hesitate to skewer the first one who comes close. However, before I have time to see if my intimidation is having an effect, a hiss pierces the air. Then the African to my left collapses, an arrow having pierced his head to emerge through one of his eye sockets. And immediately afterwards, the one on my right collapses as well. The horse turns in panic, then a shadow covers the sun. Something lands heavily on the bandit with surprising speed, and the sound of breaking bones rings in my ears. The cat stands over the horse's corpse, his hoof firmly planted in the lad's smashed head, and T-Hoot's wings extend from his back. I always find in trouble. I do my best not to show my amazement at his transformation, but I have to admit it's difficult. You always have to make dramatic entrances. But what are you doing here, exactly? I thought you wanted to go east. Not without you. The stag pauses before clearing his throat with some sort of embarrassment in his eyes. I realized that I was afraid for you, afraid of losing you. I don't want to stand in the way of your dream of finding a home, Vekad, but I can't abandon my friends either. That's fine by me. In any way, my home is where you are. You sure know how to be charming when you want to. I got to admit, though, that would be a tad more romantic without the corpses surrounding us. But did you really fly to me? The hunter's wings beat the air on their own as he watches them, still with a touch of embarrassment. I've been following you practically since you left, so I didn't fly that much. I was afraid something would happen to you, yeah. How did you learn to do that? Well, I don't really know how they appeared or how I use them, but it's instinctive. It's instinctive. It's instinctive, you could say, like everything else. I blink as I look at the dead Africans surrounding me, and I realize I'm still struggling to understand what happened to them after having absolutely no sleep. So, what's the plan? Yeah, I thought we'd fly over there. That would save us some time. Do you really want to end me for good? It is urgent or not? You tell me. It's urgent, but you know that heights and I don't mix well together. It's up to you. We'll go a lot faster this way. We won't be bothered by patrols or bandits. And let's say we get there, then what? Well, if they're really in danger, we save them. We pray they'll be glad to see us again. On the other hand, if your dream is just a dream, we'll look like a bunch of idiots and they'll probably put us in shackles. So we might as well be discreet once we get there, at least until we're sure something's wrong. Vekad flashes a slight mocking smile as he crosses his arms while his wings fold behind his back. So you aren't so sure it's real now, huh? I say that to cover all the possibilities. I'm still convinced this nightmare means something, even though I don't know exactly what. It's too late to turn back anyway. My choice is made. You've helped me, so I have to return the favor. We'll build our life together once all this is settled, I promise. I love you, Vekad. Yeah, I love you too. You're lucky to be cute. I wouldn't have done it for anyone else. I can't help but laugh as he extends his hand toward me with a smile. So, shall we go, my lord? Yeah, let's go. I don't know exactly what I'm getting myself into, but one thing's for sure. Nothing will be scarier than the journey I'm about to embark on. To be continued. Hello, everyone. We hope you enjoyed this chapter. If you want more information about NeveN, feel free to follow us on Twitter. We also have a Discord allowing you to chat among community members. Finally, if you would like to support our project, we also have a Patreon that offers you a series of benefits such as billed 2 weeks in advance, but also unique stories about the characters of NeveN. If you like the VN, please also feel free to rate us on Itch.io. It will help us out a lot. Once again, a big thanks to all of you, and see you soon. Alright, so that was chapter 9 for Vekad. That was a little short. Usually each chapter has like around 10 to 11,000 words. This one only has 8,000 words, so I knew it would be pretty short. So the main thing is that Eric decided to go back to Frostfang. So much for that new life he wanted. So he saw those visions in his dream about something going on in the Frostfang. I may be wrong, but I'm going to assume there's something bad happening in the Frostfang. Apparently, Vekad and Eric leaving Frostfang did not prevent what happened. Because in other routes, there's the city's being attacked in the castle. So apparently, if Eric's dream is true, then apparently the two of them leaving the city didn't change anything. There's still an attack happening over there. So Vekad, he has this ability to, I guess, fly. So I guess it's gonna be that long until they get to the city in the castle. I guess maybe in the next update for Vekad will be back in the city, I guess. So anyway, yeah, so I think if Vekad didn't arrive, Eric would have decimated the entire bandit clan. The whole those bandits. I mean, they were going to be demolished. Well, I'll say it. They were all going to be slaughtered, whether Vekad came or not. I mean, the both of them, both Eric and Vekad, they're way more powerful now than when they first met each other. They're way more powerful now. So, with Eric having control over time, and Vekad have his new powers from Calathon. He has Calathon's new powers. So those bandits would have been killed even if Vekad didn't show up. Eric could have very much killed all of them because he's just that powerful now. Especially, when a little bunny, that power is good to have. It's good to have that power when you're a little bunny. You're going against a big horse and these bandits, these big guys here. So you can't beat them in physically, you can beat them with your powers. So that's good to have. So Vekad, he wasn't happy about Eric deciding to go. He wasn't happy with Eric deciding to flip on his plan and go back to Phosphate, because that's really what Vekad wanted. He really wanted both of them to leave and start a new life away from what's happening in the city, and he wasn't happy about it. But since they both decided to go to Phosphate, I hope after everything is settled, they'll be able to go back on this journey again. If the kingdom doesn't decide to punish them for walking away, walk away from the kingdom and everything happening, because that's another possibility that could happen. The kingdom may very well either accept their help and punish them later, or they could just punish them right the very moment they come there and refuse their help with what's going on in the city, and just punish them while they, the city itself, I'm talking about the kings and the guards, while they tackle the issue themselves, while they have Eric and Vekad possibly imprisoned, or maybe even killed. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how brutal the kings are. I mean, there's a plane coming by here. I don't know exactly how brutal the kings are. I mean, sure, King Lust has been pretty nice to Eric, and to a much lesser extent King Aeon, but I mean, like one character earlier said, I don't know who it was, but one character said this. They said that the kings did not get to where they are by being nice. I mean, they led a rebellion against the former kings, so while they were kind of nice to Eric, well, King Lust especially, we don't know how brutal they can be. They can be brutal, but we haven't really seen that yet. So, and it seems though Vekad very much didn't care to come back, because to him the kings and Maybjorn only saw him as something convenient for them. They never cared about Vekad. The kings never cared about Vekad, and Maybjorn, as he got older, all he cared about was the throne. So I understand that, and all the updates, all the other routes we saw where we had to make a decision between killing Vekad and sparing Vekad, in the decisions where we decided to kill Vekad, King Aeon did not really care at all about Vekad being dead. I mean, he basically, with no hesitation at all, told Eric that it was best to kill Vekad, and that when Eric chose to kill Vekad, he, King Aeon, he just kind of praised Eric for doing it, and then he went and then he didn't care at all. He just praised Eric for killing Vekad, and he went back to focusing on King Lus, his husband. So he obviously didn't care about Eric killing Vekad. He just praised Eric for doing it, and he just moved on to his husband. And the other, when he do decide to spare Vekad, King Aeon gets angry with Eric for sparing him, and basically warning him that everything would be his fault if Vekad went amok again. So yeah, the kings, especially King Aeon, they really didn't care about Vekad. They just saw him as an employee of the court, an employee of the castle, nothing more. He's just somebody there as their convenience. They didn't care about Vekad. So after seeing that and those other rules, I can understand why Vekad feels the way he feels about them. So the main reason Eric wants to go back there because he wants to make sure his friends are okay. Save all his friends, that make sure they're not being killed. He thought that by leaving Frostfang, his friends would be okay, but if these dreams are true, then the opposite happened. Running away didn't make things any better. So hopefully, I'm not hoping that it's actually happening, but I kind of actually hoping it's happening in the sense that at least Eric is right, and that them heading back to Frostfang was the right decision. Because if it turns out that nothing is happening there, which personally I doubt there's something happening there, but if it turns out that nothing happening there and everybody there is safe, then yeah, Eric will look foolish. Vekad will be angry at Eric, and both of them will be imprisoned and maybe even executed. I don't know. They don't really like people who betray the kingdom or turn their back on the kingdom. So hopefully that doesn't happen to either of them. So we'll just have to see what happens. I'm very much eager to see how they get with. I'm eager to see how they get. I'm eager to see what the reception they get when they get back to Frostfang, because I think they're gonna find out. They say they're gonna try to be discreet as they can in getting back into the city, but I think they're gonna get found out, and I'm gonna wonder how they're gonna get received through the people there and everybody. So that's why I'm wondering. So that's all for now. So we covered chapter 9 for all the characters now. I kept Maybjorn, Tanakh, and now Vekad. So the next update will be for Cat, and that will begin chapter 10. So thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.